Welcome to Timothy Haggerty on YouTube.com. Please subscribe, please view. Any comments, suggestions, I'd like to hear them. I am going to talk about episode 4 of my vacation talk. Just a second. And we're going to be talking about September 18, 4:35 p.m., 1996, when I arrived in Bradford, PA. I was in Custard City, and I went there, and I was getting set up to be staying in Bradford, PA, and I was all the way up on the top of Bradford. And so I started school there. I went to school down in Custard City, and right across they had like a little small ice cream shop, and occasionally I got to go over for lunch and have ice cream, and when they were open around the spring season, we would play some basketball, kickball, do some running. We would even go hiking in the far side away from the school. It's a hiking area. We would learn about the different plants and the biology and chemistry and different things of nature, and we'd be walking, and I'd be like three times a week walking for about an hour, and it was like a gym class, and then we'd go over there and do things in the gym and stuff, and we would study your math, your science, your English. We do history, geography, social studies, all that kind of stuff. And when I was down in that area from 1996 to 1999, I would study the psychology in high school. So part of in Bradford and Smethport and Port Allegany. And I remember where I was staying, we had a big field right in the front coming down by the road area. We played flag football, we played soccer, we played kickball, throw the frisbee around. We'd go on the far side, and we had a basketball court. We'd play some basketball, and we would walk. I remember we were walking down the street, and about 10-15 minutes, it was a nice chicken kind of barbecue place, and movie store, and there was a Catholic church. You know, we'd go over there. I'd volunteer once a week over to the nursing home in Bradford, and I would call the bingo, and we'd go downtown, and they had McDonald's, they had Tops, and they had this Johnson hotel, and we went to the Zippel Museum a few times, and we went to the over in Carson City, right by the school. We even went to a oil museum. We talked about how oil got started and all that. Then we would go, I remember trips, we would go over to the kind of like the bridge of dam. It was probably about 20-30 minute drive outside of Bradford, and we'd hike down that deep thing going down by the water of the dam. We would go over to see carp fish and all that stuff. I remember we would go and see these different factories. We had day trips, and we would learn why we recycle and all these different things, and some plant things and all that. I remember in Bradford, they had a Perkins, they had diners, they had a Kmart out there. I remember you go on the far side of Kmart, it was this big cow, and it was called Cow Palace, and they had an ice cream there. They had a Dairy Queen out there, and small ice cream shops and all that stuff. I remember we can go along the highway. We go all the way up to Olean, New York. I remember back in '98, I went 10 times to see St. Bonaventure play college basketball. And then on the about 20-30 minutes from Bradford, we go to Allegheny National Park. I went through the highway part, the back road one. And that's where I learned how to do rock climbing back in 1996. I went to Thunder Rocks in Allegheny National Park, and we hiked different trails in Allegheny National Park. We'd be doing deer spotting and all that stuff. And I remember in Bradford they had this slide that goes down into the water. There's like a little park kind of thing in Bradford. I seen the hospital there and stuff, and some good moments. We would drive on the back roads and stuff, and I met a lot of different incredible people. And I remember the time when we went all the way up to Buffalo, New York, to the mall, and we'd go over to James, New York, and we went to this thing where it was George Washington's house, and they redid the kind of like the war setting and all that stuff. Some good moments. We went up to Niagara Falls. We've been there for around Christmas time when the lights were there. We've been there in the warm seasons too. And I remember we took a trip down. We had a picnic and stuff down in Erie at that water park. So we went down to Erie, Pennsylvania as well too. So, and we went on the rides and the water rides, and we went on this boat in Erie. It's an old boat based on history, kind of like what they did back in the day, and it was a cool thing to see. And I remember we did a lot of things in Bradford. From September '96 to about between October and November of '97, I was living in Bradford, PA. So I was over on that part of the side. But then I was over in Jackson Ave in Bradford. I lived over there. I would go hiking. And next door, it was cool. It was this family, and we got to play some basketball and stuff. And we got to do things with arts and drama. And I remember I volunteered at a Tyne festival in '97. My glasses broke, and I had these quarter things where you peel these things off, and I won $50 and I got a new pair of glasses, and that was actually pretty cool. And I got to go to the Tyne festival and stuff. And I remember when I met the Fry family, we'd go over to the dam and the bay and all that stuff, and we just started going out, seeing each other. And then I actually went to move all the way, but it was cool because I remember Bradford in the summer. We'd play out back soccer and all that stuff. I loved playing soccer back in the day, and they had picnics. And I remember in Bradford and Jackson Avenue, we played this game. It was Vampires and Priests. It was like a hide and seek game. So there was some good moments back in those times, just doing different things, and get to go to like dances and parties and stuff like that. And when I went to Smethport, Pennsylvania, it was not that far from the fairground, and right across from where I was staying, there was a restaurant. And it was cool because with the people I was staying, I would go out in the woods hiking. I learned, see people do trapping and fishing and just doing different things. There's a nice little creek area. I'm in Raybo. Yeah, it's like a lab dog, and they had other dogs too. And it was just cool. We play right out in the area. We play some football, and they had that what is it called? You jump up and down on it, you know, with wrestling on that, and we had a swimming pool back there. Some great moments back in the day. And for my past thing, I didn't bring this up. When I was in Albany, PA, back in 94 and 95, I would learn how to do ceramics, and that was pretty cool. I cleaned ceramics and stuff. I worked in the video store they had there, worked in the garden. I'd bring the wood in for the wood stove. They would chop off the trees, and we'd throw them up, and we learned different things. And I learned some things, smaller things with carpeting, like they work on homes and different things. And well, I remember going back to Bradford. We volunteered to help a good cause to paint different homes and stuff, and we got the opportunity to go to a picnic and go to like a baseball game and stuff. So that was a cool thing I did. And now back to Smethport. You know, I'd walk all the way. It took about a mile to walk downtown and stuff. And I remember I used to go to the park, shoot basketball, hang out, walk in the park. I like the Fox's Den Pizza. Some good pizza down there in Smethport. And they have a good one in Port Allegheny too, in Pennsylvania. We'd have these hills going up, and we'd see like this bed and breakfast kind of mansion kind of thing. And I had a paper route back in the day. I did haying for about 2 years in the summer, and it wasn't bad, you know. We got paid $20 a day. We had our food, our drinks. We did some hard work. I remember I was helping Daryl put a motor in a car and changing tires, learning some different things. And we would drive down. We'd go to Kane, Pennsylvania. I remember the Smethport Hubbers. We go see the Smethport Hubbers, and when they travel, we go different places in New York and Pennsylvania. I remember one time we went down to St. Mary's, and St. Mary's had these things in the store. You get it like in a 6-pack. It was like a sub sauce, and it was really good subs. And I remember in Mount Jewett, it was Bob and Mary's. They had some big ice cream. We walked on this bridge over there, and we starts a Keelan Bridge or something. We walk across the bridge, going underneath it, hiking and stuff. The bridge is cut off half because of the tornado years ago, later. But we would do things up there, and I just came to my mind back when my 94, I'd go, it's about an hour and a half from Albany, PA. We go to this place where you can go swimming and barbecuing and picnics and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. But back to Smethport. We would go to Emporium and stuff like that, Emporium, Pennsylvania. And I've been up to Du Bois to see a high school basketball game. And I remember the actual time when we went to where was that? So I went to Smethport High School. I went to church there. I went to a Pentecostal church and a Catholic church at the time. I worked at a fairground. I worked with cleanup. And then on those other couple nights, I helped with the lights. So I met a country band and stuff like that. And they gave us some pizza. That was pretty cool. And we got to meet some cool people and all that. We did a lot of hiking in different areas. And I remember the Hubbers went all the way pretty close down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They didn't win that championship, but they won a couple championships, state championships back in the day. and they had these Hubbard burgers, almost like a Big Mac. Yeah, I remember those. It was some interesting times way back in the day where we got to just discover some different areas, and I remember I'd just ride my bike and different things, and just enjoying nature, doing some fly fishing, and just enjoying ourselves, and just, I remember the Rick D Stop 40. Yeah, I remember that. So it was some very interesting times back in the day. I remember it was a period of time I went to Port Allegheny school, and I remember one person, Mike Oliver, told me, "Hey, you a little hungry? So we went to Port Allegheny. There's like this big giant burger." And on our lunch break, sometimes we go to the diner. But I went to school out there and stuff, and I learned a lot of different things. I remember a time I went to Potato City. It was a restaurant in Cowersport, Pennsylvania, or in the outskirts and stuff. I remember a lot of times we'd drive all the way to Smethport to Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, where the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania is, and I'd meet my parents, and there's times I would do that, so I know that route so well. But there's a lot of great moments and stuff, and the things I did. I'm just talking about highlights and different things. But just walking the streets and different things and meeting different people, it was very much a lot of fun. Now, in our 5th episode, I am going to be talking, I've been out to New Jersey and Cape May, New Jersey, and I've been in Pennsylvania and New York and all this stuff. But I actually, and it was kind of weird, because if I go back to 1996, I didn't say this in the Scranton one, I had the opportunity to go to Dorney Park, where the Berenstain Bears team is, in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I got to go to the old Philly Stadium to see a Phillies baseball game in 1996. But when I get into my 5th episode, I'm going to talk about the location where I had the opportunity to go Sandusky, Ohio, to Cedar Point in 1998 in the summer. And I got to be in the border of Michigan. So that'll be a very good, interesting thing about a nice full week of summer vacation up in Ohio and Michigan. So I was moving out a little bit, so that was pretty cool. And I'll be talking about that in the 5th episode, and that'd be very cool to talk about. I was with the Fry family. Daryl, I'm thinking about you. He passed away on New Year's Eve last year, and I really looked up to him and stuff. And Deb was like a mom to me. Daryl was like a dad, and Bear, who's Derek, was like brother to me. Steve was like a brother. Sonny, who's Allison, was like a sister. Oh yeah, and we went horseback riding. Sonny took me horseback riding, and I learned on a horse. I'd work and clean up in the area there and all that stuff, and get to ride horses. And I remember I'd volunteer in Smethport, and we would worked in the park a little bit and did different things. And I went to a church camp, and I think it was out past Emporium or something, and Pastor Larson, brother, and we were out in that area, and we got to play some basketball. We got to do a lot of church things, activities. It was just an interesting time, because then I actually started getting closer to God. I learned a lot more at that time. It's kind of weird, but it took me to go to a Pentecostal church. But at that time, I was still going to 2 different kinds of churches, Catholic and Pentecostal. It was a beginning point to me. And I remember back in the day, it was an interesting time. I did a lot of different things. So when we get into our next episode 5, and we talk about Ohio in the beginning, border of Michigan, it is the start of a journey. So thank you for listening to me here on my vacation talk, and I hope you have a great day. See you later. Bye.